What's up, everyone? This is Mr. V, and let's find out what's up with Supcase with their new unicorn Beetle for the Z Fold 4. How's it going, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about the new Supcases for the Galaxy Z Fold 4. So I've been a fan of these Supcases for quite a while. Here we have an S21 Ultra that has a Beetle case. And the main reason that I was attracted to these is the overall protection, the ruggedness of it, the fact that it's got this little slide kickstand, and of course that it is wirelessly charging capable. So that being said, let's take a look at the differences that we see here with the new line of Supcases for the Z Fold 4, and we're going to be comparing them to an unboxing experience of an older generation Beetle case from Supcase as well. So here I have a unicorn Beetle that is for the S21. Here is the original packaging, the original design of it. We've got the little Supcase sticker there in holographic, pretty cool. But overall, it's just a very cardboard experience. It all just feels like it's been printed out on a cheap cardboard as opposed to this newer line right here. Nice and sleek, very thick cardboard as opposed to this, which is kind of squishy and crunchy. And it's nice and holographic all the way around. So let's talk about the unboxing experience for the original cases. Now, the original cases came in some pretty cost-effective packages, which wasn't necessarily a bad thing. But we would get the case right here, little styrofoam insert to protect it, and of course, with some of the more affordable ones, you have your belt clip case, and you have the actual case itself. So this is a black version, non-S Pen version. I've been daily driving the S Pen version of it that has this little slot right here since the newer Samsung 21 Ultra, I think the 22 reintroduced the pen, and now the newer lineup, it looks like it might not have the pen. But we see right here that this case does provide access to a pen for you to have it on the go. I've been using this phone here since it launched with the pen slot, just because I came from the Note line and I was used to using the pens for various reasons, signing documents, sending messages, drawing on the phone, things like that. So having the S Pen for me was a must, but for most people, the biggest complaint was that this case was just too big in comparison to a normal phone. Here, for example, I have a S7. It's a bit older of a device, a little bit smaller, but you can see the difference of how it looks like in the hand just by the size of that phone. So the phone being a little bit bigger adds to it, and then the case adding this extra bit right here also adds to the experience of having to have such a larger device. I myself am quite a big person, so it doesn't really bother me, but my wife would always hate using my phone just because the case right here would just be too big for her. Another inconvenience that it also kind of brings to the table is if you're using some of these little like phone clips, like for a car mount or anything like that, sometimes it's just too big of a or too wide of a case for this to fit into there unless it's got like a severe overstretch. In my car, for example, I have a device capable of stretching pretty wide. It can fit this case just fine. However, in my wife's car, since she's still using the Note 9, hers doesn't stretch quite as far as the one that I have, so I can't actually put my phone in the case holder for her car. That said, moving into the original case by comparison, you can see that there is that difference right there because the added slot for the S Pen. So this case right here works out just fine for most situations, whereas this one right here, it just adds a little bit more size that a lot of people weren't necessarily comfortable with. So moving on to the rest of the unboxing experience, as I mentioned, this is a very flimsy kind of cardboard. It gets the job done, but it wasn't necessarily that much of a wow factor when it comes to opening up cases. And for a lot of people, that's fine because, you know, it's just a case. They don't need anything super spectacular when it comes to opening it. The one thing I did enjoy about most of these cases, I've been using them for quite a few years on a couple different models, is that it comes with this belt clip that I was able to use whenever I was coaching football, running around in the school, things like that. That way I had an easy access to just put it on my belt clip and just not worry about it. And it's very hard plastic for that belt case. You can rotate this around to different positions. It's a very, very sturdy click. That way you don't have to worry about it. And it pretty much locks in every 10-15 degrees or so. So it's a really nice case, really nice design. But let's move on to the newer generation, which I'm really excited for with this new device. I've had the Z Fold 4 for roughly about a week now, and unfortunately it came with the original Samsung case that they were offering during the promotion. And it's a nice case as well. It's got this little kickstand on it, but it's very flimsy. I worry that it would break. As well as it came with an S Pen. So if you're not aware, the new Samsung Folds have to have a very specific type of S Pen. If you use any of the S Pens from another generation, it'll give you a warning message saying, please use only Fold designed S Pens, otherwise you risk damaging your screen. It has something to do with the tip that's right here. This is a very soft kind of rubberized plastic feel, as opposed to the older generation S Pen that was on my 21, which has a little bit harsher of a plastic. So if you don't have a screen protector or something on this inside screen, I can see it damaging pretty easily. So with that aside, this case right here is a decent case. It comes with the option for swapping this little kickstand out for the pen holder, but it's kind of bulky, it's kind of weird and rough, and you lose that kickstand capability, which you don't have to sacrifice with this Pro version right here. So let's get into that. As I mentioned, the unboxing experience in these versions of the case are a lot different than the previous generations. We have this nice hard cardboard. It's got the holographic kind of film all the way across, talks about some of the features and designs. And on the bottom, we have all the support and contact information for Supcase. And for the Pro version, very similar experience all the way around. Biggest difference would be is that the regular version here does come with a belt clip, but no S Pen holder. This version right here comes with a S Pen holder, but does not come with the belt clip. So you have to kind of decide which one's more important to you, carrying it on your hip, in the belt clip, or if you are a daily driver of the S Pen, kind of like myself, whether or not you want the S Pen version. Now, if you do get both cases, there is a benefit where the front bezel of the case is the same on both ones. So if you decide you want the belt clip, you can just pop the back version off, pop the back version of the other one on, and you're good to go. And I'll show you what that looks like after the original installation. So I'm going to start by opening up the regular version that does not have the S Pen holder. It's a bit bulkier of a box, and the reason for that is as soon as you get into it, you're going to see that it has the belt clip included into the packaging. So much like the other generation did right here where it had the belt clip, this one also comes with the belt clip. Nice sturdy design, hard plastic all the way around. You don't have to worry about bumping into anything. And there's a very, very deep groove and bezel right here to help protect your camera. Now, the one thing that's different about this one, which I'm not sure if it was on the third or second generation Z Fold as well, is that these clips actually open up from the side, or rather the top, whereas the previous generations would open up here from the top and you can just pop your phone out, kind of like book style. This one you have to open it up from the top and pop it off. So right here we have, set this aside for a second. We have the general case right here. It comes with a little foam insert to help keep the case safe. Nice kind of cloth texture here on the inside to help keep your phone kind of safe without scratches or anything on the inside. Pretty nice. This version does come with a screen protector as well, built into the case, which is something that the Note 9 version and the S21 Ultra version was missing, but the S7 series had one as well. I remember using it on the S7 and being very, very happy about the fact that it came with its own screen protector. Another thing you might notice right here is it says that it has a protective film right here. That little line right there is going to be a kind of like a little rubber sticky pad that helps it stay onto the phone, because this is a device that opens up. The front of the case is susceptible to falling off. So it's nice that they have this little sticker right here that helps stick it onto the case. I believe that the overhang all the way around is going to be enough to kind of hold on to the phone as well, but that little bit of added protection on that side is going to be nice since there's nothing kind of holding on that side. For the back area, we have our little pop-up kickstand right there. These last quite a bit of time. I think while I had my S21 Ultra, I went through maybe a total of 2 of these cases, and that's just because there is a small little pin you can see right here that slides in that track, and then there's a little stopping point that you click into, and unfortunately that little pin is susceptible to breaking, but if you're careful with the case and don't force it all the time into that kickstand position, it should last you quite a bit. As I mentioned, I've been using these for many years, and usually the little kickstand pins right there are able to last for about a year or so before I start realizing that there's any kind of looseness or kind of cracking through it. So getting a new case every other year or so isn't that bad, especially when you consider how fast most people kind of go through their phones. So as I mentioned, there's a very deep recess right here for the cameras. I have an extra lens that I put on top of my cameras here just to protect them. So it's nice that this case right here adds that kind of open cutout as well as the depth to help protect it, because that means I don't have to remove this in case you have something like that installed as well, or some of the other options that I've seen on Amazon where it's just the little rings that you set on top of the cameras that can fit on there just fine without having any issues as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start the installation process here just so that we can kind of get an idea for what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead and clean this area up just a bit, and we'll come back to this one a little bit later just so I can show you the difference with the S Pen version. So going through the instructions, it'll show you how to install it. In previous generations, the installations have been kind of just like remove the front cover and then clip it on. But this one being the Fold series, it is a little bit more involved. As I mentioned, there's that adhesive strip right here, and you do get these 2 extras that are included into the case in case you're removing it later or it loses its adhesiveness. You can kind of just replace it. And then it shows you that you're going to clip in from one side after removing the protective film and then kind of snap it into place. And you're going to work your way all the way around, starting with the front, adding it to that front bezel here on the phone. Then you're going to take the second piece over here and you're kind of just going to press it all the way around, making sure that it has a nice secure connection. So I'm going to go ahead and set that to the side. So with the Z Fold, as you might know, it does open up and unfolds. You're going to want to remove any other case that you have. In this one, for example, I've got to kind of peel around the edges to kind of remove this one, revealing the phone right here. And as I mentioned, there's that already big bevel for the cameras, generally speaking. So having this bit of excess right here is really nice because it goes all the way around it, no problem. I'll go ahead and remove the front bezel off of this phone as well. This original Samsung case that came with the phone also has an adhesive, so you might have to peel it off if you're coming from one of these kind of cases as well. And it doesn't leave any kind of residue. It looks like the Supcases are using the same type of adhesive from what I was able to see. There's a strip right here, if you can see it kind of catching the light, and it's a strip right here as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this Samsung one aside. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the pen for later though. All right, and we are going to start by opening up the phone, and I'm going to install this back part first just because it leaves the hinge open on either side for this one. And the idea behind these is you kind of want to angle it in on one side and then kind of just pop it into place and work your way around. Sometimes they're a little bit stiff and a little bit feisty about getting installed, but once you get it on there, you know that it's not going to cause any issues or fall off. There it goes. All right, and as I mentioned, it fits completely around the camera, no problems at all. Fits all the way around the phone, no problems at all. Nice and snug. And you've got these little tactile buttons right here for the volume and the power button just right there. So that's the back installed, and you can see it does add some thickness to the case. It is a bit of a thick boy. but you get your kickstand, and of course the selling point for me personally is that wireless charging. Now this phone is turned off. It might take a second or so to show. You can actually see there's that blue light. There it is. So there it is, wirelessly charging inside of a case that has a kickstand. Not a lot of cases on the market offer that capability. Big selling point for me, as I mentioned. And then for the front, I do have to remove this protective film and take off that adhesive strip. But first, I'm gonna go ahead and clean that screen. Got quite a bit of fingerprints on it while I was working on getting that back cover on. And these cases are advertised to be screen protector friendly, even if you already have a screen protector on it. I do have a screen protector from Zag installed on this phone right now. Had no issues with the Samsung version of the case for that front bezel either. So I'm expecting that this one probably won't either. So there we go. There's that peel. Go ahead and remove this adhesive. Right there, very little thing. Now I'm going to carefully install this the same way that I did for the back, one side at a time. I'm going to start with this bottom area, kind of clip it onto the phone, nice and snug, work my way around. And there it is, popped right into place. That adhesive is going to kind of self-stick to it after a while. There's another protective film right here. I'm going to go ahead and remove that for the camera. Bam. So here we have a fully protected phone, and you have belt clip capabilities. So I can go ahead and clip it in right there, ready to go. If I want to unclip it, there's this little space right here you can kind of use to pop up with your thumb. Very nice design, very nice feature. I always loved running around with these whenever I had football practice with my students. I can just clip it onto my belt, not have it in my pocket, dangling around, causing me issues. So love the case, love the belt clip. But as I mentioned, with some people, myself included, the S Pen is actually a must-have. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what the Pro version of this case looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside right up here. And I'm going to bring the Pro case in. So here we have the Pro case version. It's essentially the exact same design, with the difference is that there is going to be kind of like a snapping hinge right here that you're able to store your S Pen into. Unfortunately, that larger design does mean that you don't have the belt clip included. I'm not 100% sure if they have an option to purchase one on the website. However, the advertisement for it specifically says belt clip is not included. So you do have to keep that in mind if you are looking for the belt clip, or you're just used to receiving one, kind of like all those previous generations. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this one up. Very nice snug case. Same little pamphlet. This one does have a little bit different instructions as far as the installation because of the S Pen slot. All you have to do is pop it open, it hinges, you slide your pen in, and you pop it closed. And I'll show you what that looks like whenever we're installing. Otherwise, pamphlet is very similar as far as the installation instructions. It talks to you about removing the front adhesive, the front plastics, and it also gives you 2 additional adhesives here for your installations later in the future if you ever have to remove it for any reason. So I'm going to go ahead and set this box off to the side with the case, or the belt clip, excuse me, from the previous box. And let's talk about the main differences here. So right away, you're going to notice that it's a little bit bigger. Same situation as the S21. You do have to have that extra space in order to save the S Pen in there. But that said, when we compare it to the original S21 case, you can see that because the Z Fold is a much slimmer device than the S21 Ultra already, it kind of brings it back to that original width that you expect from a normal phone. With the main difference, of course, being that it is going to be a bit thicker since it is that Z Fold design. Now with that said, I mentioned earlier that it is hot swappable because this front bezel right here is exactly the same. It is the same design whether you get the Pro or whether you get the standard edition. So you only have to install that front bezel. And if I wanted to install this one just to have my S Pen saved right there with this nice sturdy hinge mechanism right there, all I would have to do, I would open up my phone, I would peel away from a corner. Usually this is a bit rough on the fingers trying to take this off, just because it secures so well to the device. There we go. Set that aside. Here is the Pro version of the case. And do the same thing, kind of start at the top, kind of work my way around the phone. There we go. Nice and snug. Again, camera lens is perfectly safe. There's a little bit of bezel still left over, even with my extra piece of glass that's on top of the lenses. And I didn't have to reapply the front. So now when I close this phone is a bit thicker now in every direction, a little bit wider here, a little bit longer here, but I can now take the S Pen that came with my original case from Samsung, and I can tuck it right in there at the bottom. You can see right here, there's a little pocket for the S Pen to kind of get held by. Pop it in like that, and it holds very snug into place right there. There's some grips all the way up the side of the device that allow you to just push it into place. It's not going to go anywhere. And now I have an S Pen on the go. In order to take the S Pen out, all I have to do is open this up, use this little thumb grip area right here to push up on the pen, and that will loosen it up for me. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back. Close that. There's a little bit of humidity stuck in there from the screen protector closing in. However, that's going to work itself out with the heat of the phone being on and just daily use in general. So that'll go away eventually soon. So there we go. You have full capabilities of opening up your phone. You have the S Pen nice and stored away, super safe. It's not going to go anywhere. And you have your kickstand that is available for multi-directional use, for you to be able to prop up your phone, watch your games, YouTube videos, FaceTiming with friends, whatever it is that you want to do with it. Again, best feature in my opinion for a case this size, which it's kind of remarkable that it's even able to do this, is that wireless charging. So blue light on my charger has already turned on. A little hard to see with the camera angle right there, but in a couple seconds you're going to see that the phone is recognizing the fast charge from the wireless charger, and there it goes. So fantastic products in my opinion. I have used their phone cases since the S7 line. I'm going to go ahead and start putting some of this away. That way it is nice and secure for me the next time I need to use it. And I will provide links to the Amazon page where you can find these, as well as their main page if you prefer buying it direct from the source. These were sent over to me by a friend who does a lot of reviews for Samsung products. He knows that I just got a new phone, and it's kind of a tradition between him and I that anything that he kind of gets as an overflow or anything that's left over, he kind of allows me to kind of keep and review and use whenever he gets multiple copies of these. I believe he received the black versions of these and I think a blue version, and he knows that I usually use the red versions of these. So after he kind of went through his phone and figured out which one he wanted to keep, he sent me these, and I am making this review video for him as kind of like a thank you. So check them out. Supcase website right here, supcase.com. support at supcase.com. They're pretty fast at responding from my experiences in the past. Not that I've had many. Most times when I have one of these devices, the case lasts me for years, as I've mentioned. And whenever you're replacing them, it's because they are completely and utterly ragged and torn apart because of the years of abuse. And at that point in time, they've served their purpose because my phones have always been pristine. Peace.